episode 8 of ReZero second season part 2 is definitely the episode for Ram. And it's not to say that Ram doesn't have her moments. She's always kind of been the character that jumps in there and throws in some snarky comments to Subaru or somebody else that I guess gets the juices flowing to get some progress done. Nothing helps Subaru more than getting a little bit of critiquing in there every now and then from Ram. But no, it was definitely the episode for her because we got to see a lot more to her than just her snarky side. And granted, we had her with her assistance with Garf. That was definitely a situation that was at the time very odd. Didn't quite understand why she, kind of put her neck out there, so to speak, in regards to Rosewall, and seemingly against what he would have wished. But we kind of get that light finally shed on what she's doing in this particular episode. And for those that don't know, this is episode 8 of ReZero Part 2, second season, or episode 21 of the second season, or episode 46 if you're watching on Crunchyroll. I'm not sure why everybody has the episode count differently, but I'm trying to stick with, the actual, this being part 2, thus new episodes. But anyways, putting that aside. But no, the episode opened up great. We had a nice little interaction between Subaru, Otto, and Garf. Garf like, hey, I'll go with you to the manor. And they're like, wait, you can't do that. The sanctuary's still got a berry on it. Why? I have a mixed-blooded dad, and thus my blood is too thin for the barrier. And it's like this moment of like, wait, but you have different parents than Fred. Yeah, he was also mixed blood, so you never really asked. So I guess it's funny because it's almost one of those things of like, is this just a throwaway? Oh well, let's just make Garf mixed blood too, or the fact that, well, no, he was there for a reason. It wasn't because of the barrier, which we all kind of assumed. Again, that kind of aspect of the writer that kind of goes, you assume this is the case, but you're wrong. You made an assumption, which makes what out of you. But no, that was a really good line. And then like right after that, Subaru and Otto and them leaving on the carriage, a nice little interesting comment made by Garf that you can never catch Reinhardt or something like that, and how Reinhardt is so so well known even at the sanctuary. He's got these titles given to him, which was an interesting little kind of tidbit they threw in there. And of course, and apparently they got some kind of weird gauntlets for Garf for the coming battle, which I think Garf says later on that they were some kind of shield they played with when they were kids, Garf and his sister Frederica. So I'm curious if they'll ever explain what those are. Are they just like some relics that they stumbled upon? Like, where did they get these from? They seem like they possibly will be pretty useful against Elsa. But maybe they'll explain that going. Maybe I missed it. I could have missed it. I'm always I'm always missing things. There's so much information. It's hard to catch everything. I'm sorry. But yeah, in that scene as well, Subaru gives Puck to Ram, which I honestly missed this with the fight with Garf when Subaru brought out the gem and you could hear Puck's voice. I wasn't sure if it was actually Puck in there or just like an essence of Puck that was in there, but apparently he did transfer Puck. Or what I'm guessing is that Puck made a pact with Subaru now in order to release Emilia from her link, and they don't want to tell Emilia that he's just fine, that she could eventually go back to Emilia, I guess, if they wanted to. But I don't know if I missed where that was made, but it seems like Puck somehow maybe made a pact with Subaru or something. But anyways, gave Ram that gem, obviously assuming that he knew that Ram was going to be involved with something. And this is kind of odd to the whole situation, because it seems like in some conversations with Otto that Ram has, in the fact that she is planning on turning against Rosewall, it seems like as if she doesn't want Subaru to know. Or perhaps Subaru knows that she's turning on Rosewall, just not why. Because I think she specifically says, don't tell Subaru why I'm doing this, essentially. And I'm guessing that means that he knows that she's going to, just not why. Obviously, that's quite the card to hand over to her. I mean, that Puck is like basically a win card, and he's like, here, you're gonna need this. Of everybody, I mean, we're gonna go fight, Elsa and this other girl, and all these other situations going on, but here's our best card essentially. So anyways, going on from there, this is the big scene where Ram confronts Amelia. Essentially says, well, she's sorry, she was wrong, she thought that Amelia would never change, and obviously Amelia has changed significantly, and so she's now wanting to entrust to Amelia the fate of Rosewall. She wants Rosewall to save, or wants Amelia to save Rosewall, even to the point where she bows to Amelia and pleading to her. And come to find out, Ram believes that, Ram believes what we all know. Rosewall's going down this really crazy path that we have no clue where he's going, and it seems to be going towards just absolute chaos for everybody. Now, granted, it doesn't seem like it's not as if she's coming to Amelia as if, hey, I want you to help Rosewall because he's putting you all through this. It's more of she's seeing a self-destruction in him. He's going down this really bad path. And so it does show that she still really cares for Rosewall, but she's seeking to redeem him in some way, or find redemption, or save him in some way from the path that he's going. And we still don't really quite know, or at least I don't quite get it. I mean, there's theories out there on the idea of what Rosewall's doing. I'm kind of more in the boat that I believe that obviously, based on this episode, Rosewall revealed that he's still reading out of this tome of knowledge, and from this tome of wisdom, he is getting that he needs to use the power of the core in the sanctuary to basically change the weather and freeze everything. So he's still reading from it, so it's still giving him information, opposed to Beatrice, who her tome of wisdom doesn't say anything anymore. It's blank. So his is still getting it. He still has information that he is acting out. And he got this tome of wisdom from Ekidona. And so obviously Ekidona is trying to lead everything into chaos. And you would assume that everything he's been doing up to this point has been based on that tome. So getting Amelia, getting her into the throne wars, recruiting Ram and Ram, getting Subaru, putting Subaru through all this crap. Based on the conversation with Subaru, where he was trying to talk him out of hiring or turning Elsa and them back and stopping this whole situation with the sanctuary. Everything is in play based on Ekidona wanting to put Subaru through some kind of trial to get him stronger. And of course, the idea that will eventually, does Ekidona want Subaru to be cornered so much that he will rely on Ekidona, and at that point, Ekidona has returned by death. And is that returned by death because she is searching for a way to resurrect herself, just like with Ryuzu's, or is it just to have that power because she's greedy? It's curious because if that's the case and she wants Subaru to rely on her and to take his power, that is quite a lot of stuff that she has put into play, all for this moment. And it kind of re-solidifies my comments last time about, we have to remember Ekidona is a bad guy. And it's hard to see her as a bad guy because she's so cool and so fun, but she is a bad guy. It's like with Ryuzu. It's like, I totally believe that when Ryuzu stepped forward and says, I'll be the core, Ekidona thought in her head, yeah, I know. I knew you were going to say that. I had planned for that. Everything is for this benefit. Everything is in play for this particular reason. And her wanting to be resurrected, when she already set up to try to deal with the Ryuzu and the clones, it makes sense that she's doing it with Subaru as well. So it does come into play in this idea that Rosewall is doing all of this through this tome of wisdom. All this is in play because Rosewall wants to enact what Ekidona wanted. And so Ram basically finally kind of realizing that, and realizing that he is essentially trying to create his own destruction in order to hopefully push Subaru to this point. She doesn't know that. Ram doesn't know that this is all for Subaru and Ekidona, Rosewall, I believe, even doesn't realize that this is all for Ekidona and Subaru. And that's the kind of the tragedy in everything, is that thankfully Ram realizes this and is trying to stop it. But at the same time, it is kind of tragic in the idea that Rosewall believes that this is something that he wants to do for his loved one that is essentially not going to benefit him in the end. And that's again where my thought process is going through all this crazy, because they haven't really came out and said anything. And that's the troubling thing. I think at this point they really need to finally say something. They need to finally kind of say, next episode have Ekidona finally come out and laugh in Rosewall's face, or have Ram finally slap Rosewall across the face and realize, hey, look, I think this is not for the reason that you think it's for. Something needs to finally reveal, because I think we're getting the point now where everybody's starting to turn on each other, and we don't really have a definite reason why everything exists. And I think that's to the story's detriment. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the story's going to crap or anything like that. I'm just saying right now I feel like we're at a pinnacle point in the storytelling where when you have so many characters that are beloved turning on each other, you kind of need to finally reveal the big bad guy that's causing it. You need to finally show the puppet master, or the reason why at least these sides are turning on each other in its truest form. And that's what I'm getting at, because we don't really have a definite reason. We just know that Rosewall's doing something. He's pushing this down to a path of destruction that he has started with his teacher, and we don't really know if it's the right choice or what exactly that choice is. Why would he be so willing to cause this destruction? Yes, we know it's for his teacher and all that kind of stuff, but the truth behind it, I guess. But yeah, putting that aside, I think I've beat that horse to death. Yeah, Amelia had agreed to it. It was kind of an interesting scene, a tense scene with Amelia accepting Ram, and then Rosewall walking up, and Ram actually, clenching Amelia's hand, and them kind of giving each other strength in that scene. And it was funny because Rosewall's trying to burn down Amelia's kind of, pedestal that she's standing on. What's giving her strength? Burning those pillars. And I'm thinking to myself, hey, if Ekidona couldn't discourage her, I doubt you're going to, Rosewall. Even though he tries to claim that him and Subaru are the same, her kind of darting back like, so is that it? Just that one reason? Just because you both put your ideals on women that you love? I that's not enough reasons. Subaru tore me down before he built me up, so to speak, and so you're completely different than each other. So that was a great little moment there, which of course led to eventually Ram confronting Rosewall, which was, again, this is the point in which I'm like, man, I hope that we eventually get like everything clarified, because this is a really powerful scene right here with two characters going at each other that we wouldn't normally think that they would. Now, granted, they reveal the fact that, you should have known already that I was one of the people that destroyed your village, and he's claiming that he has to enact this act of the Tome of Wisdom to freeze the area. He also stated that she raised her wand. This wasn't the first time that she raised her wand at him, so obviously they've fought in the past, which probably is an acknowledgement that she knew before that he was a part of the people that destroyed her village. But obviously they relied on each other in some way. And through him pouring his mana out to her, she states to him that to remember the vow that they made, which is, the one that relies on fire will eventually be burnt by the fire or killed by the fire. Anything that relies on something has to eventually be killed by it. And thus, him relying on her to get rid of his excess mana, she now, in course of that statement, would be the one to kill him, but obviously he doesn't want to abide by that now. He's still got to do things. Ram, you can't just be bringing that stuff up and expect it to actually be true. We're gonna fight this out still. I guess that could have. That's what I was thinking at the time. I guess she could have been pointing out that him using the Tome of Wisdom would eventually lead to him being killed by the Tome of Wisdom. technically makes more sense. So maybe I can retrace myself there. And I was really concerned at this point because I'm like, Ram, I don't really see ever beating Rosewall. And she even states that herself. No, I don't. I can't beat you. But of course, I totally this is stupid because I totally forgot that she got Puck. So I'm like, oh wait, oh yeah, she's got Puck, sweet. And then she pulls out Puck. Puck comes out of the crystal. And I'm like, holy crap, it's Puck. We haven't actually physically seen Puck for it feels like for so long, let alone see Puck actually in action. So yeah, seeing him bust out all the ice crystals, I'm like, yeah, I miss Puck, best boy Puck. I miss him so much. But that was fantastic. Seeing Ram and Puck side by side fighting against Rosewall is going to be absolutely insane. But of course, the last scene that we really had was in the mansion. We have Subaru running in there. Well, it starts off with Petra running around trying to hide, and then she eventually decides that she needs to go get Rem because Subaru entrusted her with Rem. Elsa showing up and Frederica kind of defending Petra, which was great. And this was easily like one of the and this sucks because every single episode I get another moment where I'm like, yeah, this is the best moment of the season. Oh, this is the best moment of the season. But no, having Garf show up in front of Frederica and they have this nice little quick reunion that Elsa, they pretty much point out the fact that Elsa lets them have it. But yeah, Garf turning around to see Frederica, of course, for the first time in a long time. He's like, "You're so big! You've gotten so big!" Nice little moment between the two of them, just finally reuniting after so long. It was such a heartwarming but yet funny moment that I really, really loved. It is such a short period of time. It was easily one of the best moments of the season so far. Just that build up to this moment that we finally get is fantastic. And I'm looking forward to seeing Garf go all out against Elsa. I'm hoping that he can actually stand up against her. We've built up Elsa so much at this point. It just feels like nobody can beat her at this point. But yeah, I'm going to be excited to see Garf versus Elsa. Hopefully Frederica can get Ram out of there and then them fight together. But it seems like Garf's like, no, you see what's on my hands. I can't have somebody at my side or my back to be able to fight fully. So yeah, we have so much to look forward to next week. We have the fight with, Elsa and Garf. We have the fight with, obviously, I'm guessing Frederica will probably be the one that'll be fighting against the other girl. I can never remember her name. I don't know if it's Melee. I know that her name was Melee before, but the beast tamer, basically. Yeah, I'm guessing Frederica would go against her, and then of course we'll have Ram and Puck versus Rosewall, which, like I said, my only concern at this point is really going to be, and I hope that they finally kind of clarify, at least to Rosewald, why he's going down that direction, and if there is, puppet mastery happening that is not going to work for him. Kind of clarify things, really, in the end. I think we have, like I said, having those characters go against each other and not having a complete, clear explanation, I think is a little bit troubling at this point, but it is all kind of building up to being all part of Ekidona's plan, and I think it's masterfully crafted, and I definitely, as always, give the writer credit for being able to weave so much stuff together, and it works so well together. But yeah, exciting episode. As always, love it to death. 29-minute episode, even with the OP there. So really, really awesome how much time and effort they're putting into this. But yeah, looking forward to next week. I hope you guys enjoyed my impressions of this week's episode. Like again, I said, episode 8 of ReZero second season part 2, episode 21 if you're going by just second season, and episode 46 if you're watching on Crunchyroll. But I hope you all enjoyed, and y'all take care.